Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Our next weather maker is a coastal low that's already pushing rain inland around the coast. I'll show you when it will arrive here and how much rain we'll see.
Security at special events. Just weeks into the new school year, gunfire interrupts a high school football game. How school officials are helping students process the violence.
And fighting for people in western North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein outlined his request for more funding to help the state recover from Hurricane Helene.
We do need rain, and our next weather maker will bring it to us. Hello, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at where it's raining now and where it will become the heaviest.
It's been interesting watching this coastal low all morning. It was spreading rain inland, pretty far inland, as a matter of fact, all the way up to our eastern counties. And then all of a sudden, we've seen it dissipate. And so we'll zoom in here, and you can see here on Dual Doppler 5000 radar, we don't have rain anywhere close to our viewing area right now. It's all much closer to the coast. But that low is going to continue to trek to the west and then eventually to the north. So we do have rain on the way, but it may be later on tonight. I don't think we're going to see much rain for the evening commute, at least not right here in the triangle. This is 5 p.m. and you can still see some rain that's off to the east. Now, once we get through tonight, we begin to see some heavier bands of rain. So we may be dealing with some rain in the morning, especially from the triangle area northward. That rain continues to wrap around our area during the day. Tomorrow, that's 3 p.m. Notice there's not a whole lot of rain south of Raleigh. We're definitely going to have a better chance for heavier rain and flooding in our northeastern counties because that's going to be closest to the low as it moves up the coast. So for the rest of the day today, 30% chance up through 5 o'clock, but then by midnight and into 1 a.m., we're looking at a 50 to 60% chance. Parts of our viewing area could see well over an inch of rain out of this. We'll take a look at that coming up.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. The Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office says a suspect was identified in a shooting at a football game that injured 2 teenagers. This happened at Southwest Edgecombe High School on Friday during the game against Tarboro High School. Let's bring in Heidi Kirk. She's live at Southwest Edgecombe High School right now. Heidi, you have been in contact with the Sheriff's Office this morning.
Chris, I have all morning long. In fact, the sheriff told me just within the last 30 minutes or so that they are working as quickly as possible to get that suspect in custody. We're working with him to get you updates as soon as they come out. Now, take a look over this way. You're going to actually see the very football field where those shots rang out on Friday. And students are back in class today after that shooting. Now, WRAL had a crew at the game when that shot rang out. You can actually see that video here as people ran from the football field in a frenzy. Now, we've been reporting 2 teens, a 16-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy were hurt, but are expected to be okay. Now, the district says additional law enforcement will be on campus this week out of an abundance of caution, and there will be counseling available for any student that needs support. But of course, the big update that we're looking to get is when they get that suspect into custody. We're expecting another update from Sheriff Atkinson today at 4:45. We'll bring you the latest. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Edgecombe County.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, we have an update into the investigation of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is the headline right here. DNA evidence found near scene of Charlie Kirk's shooting matches the suspect. This is all coming new this morning from the FBI director. He spoke with Fox News this morning and says that investigators also found that towel wrapped around the rifle near where he was located during the time. They also found more evidence, a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop of where that fatal shot was fired. Officials are also expecting to file more charges against Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspect in this case, tomorrow in the killing of Kirk. Now, coming up in the next few minutes here, we're going to have a story about a situation happening in Charlotte where students painted a message to Charlie Kirk at a rock at school. We know we're going to learn more about how the principal responded to all of this.
Laura, thank you. Governor Josh Stein is again making a case for an additional billions of dollars in federal aid for Western North Carolina. Henderson County was the backdrop for his latest efforts to get more Helene recovery aid. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us now with the governor's big announcement today. And Ken, this is a substantial amount of money the governor is requesting.
You know, Renee, it is, but the governor says this is in addition to the billions of dollars Congress approved last December that still have not made it to Western North Carolina. In Henderson County today, the governor called on the federal government to approve another $13.5 billion in Helene recovery aid. The governor says that money will be shared with local governments, help rebuild more than 70,000 homes destroyed by Helene, bolster small businesses that are still recovering. And keeping in mind, we're heading into a busy tourism time in the mountains. That money will also help repair the countless roads and bridges washed out by that storm. Now, the video from the damage left behind by Helene continues to highlight the needs that still exist in western North Carolina.
North Carolina has received or been awarded federal funding equivalent to about 9% of the total damage that Helene caused. States that were similarly devastated following Hurricanes Katrina, Maria, or Sandy saw 70% of their damages covered by federal funding.
Governor Stein still plans to head to Washington Wednesday to continue to make his case for the additional $13.5 billion he's requesting from the federal government. We should also note Senator Ted Budd is also pushing for more aid for western North Carolina. He held up a vote on a Homeland Security nominee, and subsequently that money was released. Look for additional reporting on this story online at WRAL.com, WRAL News Plus, and of course in our news starting at 4.
Ken, thank you. Next week will mark 1 year since Helene altered life in our mountains overnight. We'll look at the stories of survival, struggle, heartbreak, and hope. It is all part of our new WRAL documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found. It airs Thursday, September 25th at 7:30 on WRAL and wherever you stream WRAL.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, TikTok gets to live for another day. We know this morning now TikTok with the Trump administration, the owners here coming to an agreement to keep TikTok operational in the United States. Now, the U.S. Secretary Scott Bessent said that a framework agreement has been reached and Trump will speak with Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Friday to finalize this deal. President Trump played a role in this, and we had a call with him last night. We had specific guidance from him, and we shared it with our Chinese counterparts. That was the statement coming from the U.S. Secretary this morning. Now, the big question is, who is the U.S.-backed company that's going to be involved in all of this, where there is a lot of discussion right now about the owner of Oracle, the executive chairman there, taking over. So we will see. It's something that we will continue to follow here in the Live Center.
Actually, Oracle shares went up after that announcement there, Laura. We're looking at stocks this afternoon to see how things are going. And it looks like so far, I'm seeing here, the Dow is down about 19 points, it looks like. Looks like S&P is up 29 points and NASDAQ up 187.
President Trump says he will call up national emergency troops again in Washington, D.C. if police fail to cooperate with ICE. The president says troop deployments are necessary to fight crime. The administration is now set to deploy federal troops to a growing list of Democratic-run cities. NBC's Garrett Haig shares reaction to this possible plan.
This morning, the White House strategy of surging federal resources and the National Guard into cities to fight crime set to expand south. The administration preparing to launch a combined mission, including the FBI and National Guard soldiers, into Memphis, Tennessee.
We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
that's the next city.
Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington.
I'm certainly not happy about the National Guard.
The city's Democratic mayor saying Saturday this isn't the kind of help his city needs.
The last time the National Guard was in Memphis was 1968 at MLK's assassination, after MLK's assassination. And so we don't want to invoke those same images here.
Democrats pointing to Memphis police statistics that show crime at a 25-year low, arguing a surge would be a spectacle.
We need to work at the root causes of crime and not just throw something that looks good on television. This is a Trump television show.
It comes as the Washington Post reports, citing planning documents not confirmed by NBC News, that the Pentagon has drafted a proposal to activate 1,000 Louisiana National Guard troops to serve a law enforcement mission in that state's cities, including New Orleans. The president floating such a move earlier this month.
We're going to come into New Orleans and we're going to make that place so safe.
The White House declining to comment on the report. A Pentagon spokesperson telling NBC News leaked documents should not be interpreted as policy. Over the weekend, parades mixing with public defiance in Chicago and Los Angeles at Mexican Independence Day celebrations.
People want to scare us from our home, but we're not going anywhere.
The two cities have seen recent surges in immigration enforcement, with the president publicly pondering ordering a National Guard deployment in Chicago, too, despite opposition from the state's governor and the certainty of court challenges.
That was Garrett Hake reporting. In response to the deployments, several Know Your Rights trainings and programs have popped up all across the country. And flyers include information such as ICE and Homeland Security cannot enter without a warrant signed by a judge.
Next at noon, tribute or vandalism? Not everyone was thrilled with what was painted outside a school in Charlotte. A report on what was done after. That's next.
Light rail collision. New video shows the moment this happened in Phoenix. What we know about the aftermath and the semi-truck driver involved.
And two shootings, two crime scenes. We're going to walk you through where gunshots were fired overnight in Raleigh and what we know about injuries.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000. Sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
From sporting events to church services, over the weekend, there was no shortage of tributes to Charlie Kirk. In Charlotte, a message acknowledging the conservative activist sparked lots of controversy. Tradisha Woodard explains why it's been removed from a school's Spirit Rock.
It's one of the first things you see pulling into Ardrey-Kill High. An oversized boulder that's been a canvas for student spirit for years. But this weekend, some say the message was jarring.
I don't think that it's necessary to maybe go that far.
The tribute wasn't for a classmate, but for Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist shot and killed last Wednesday while speaking at Utah Valley University. For some, it was a tribute. For others, it crossed a line.
School is the place where kids go to learn, and some parents, they have different opinions and they don't want their kids to know certain things.
The school's principal, Susan Nichols, released this statement telling families the painting was not approved. She called it vandalism, an act that violated the district's code of conduct.
It can just cause problems and friendships and groups and communities in school, because I feel like school is a place where you should be able to make friends, find your people, and it's just making it a lot harder on other people. I don't think it's necessary.
The rock has already been repainted, covering up the message. CMS says if students are responsible, they could face consequences.
Students returned to class today at Utah Valley University, where Kirk was shot. It had been closed since the shooting. Meanwhile, the accused shooter, Tyler Robinson, is expected to appear in court tomorrow. Robinson is under special watch in a separate housing unit, so authorities can keep a close eye on him until he clears a mental examination. Once cleared, he will continue with the classification process to determine where he will be housed while in custody.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, we are getting new data that really reflects the impact of vaccine hesitancy in this country. Right now, this poll coming from the Washington Post. The poll is the most detailed recent look at the childhood vaccination practices and opinions of American parents, which shows that 1 in 6 parents have delayed or skipped some vaccines for their children. That's excluding coronavirus or flu. So we're talking about 9% have skipped the polio or measles, mumps, and many other vaccine shots, which public health experts say really risks the large population for outbreaks in the future. Now, the poll finds concerns about the vaccines themselves are driving these decisions, which includes parents concerned about the current climate as well as the safety and side effects.
Thank you for that, Laura. Surveillance video shows the moment a light rail train collided with a semi-truck. Do you see that right there? That happened last night in Phoenix, and the crash caused a fire. Around 20 people were on that light rail when this happened. Everyone aboard escaped unharmed, and the driver of the semi-truck was taken to the hospital. They were injured, but are expected to recover from those injuries. As for what led to the collision even happening, well, that's still being investigated. And 2 men are accused of planting and lighting a bomb beneath a news vehicle in Utah. And those men are being held without bail. They were arrested at a home in Magna, which is about an hour north of Orem, Utah. That's where Charlie Kirk was assassinated last week. Police say the explosive was lit, but it apparently malfunctioned. Investigators searched their home and then found additional explosives, and they also found what they called explosive-related components and firearms, among other things. But neither man had a permit to possess firearms.
A video circulating on social media shows a dust devil in Middle Tennessee. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us the WRAL video and how these things form outside of deserts in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
Yeah, the video behind me is pretty wild. This was posted by the Mount Juliet League Incorporated, where they've got baseball and softball fields. And obviously you can see the dust devil just kind of traveling from field to field there. And no Tasmanian devils were involved in that. But let's talk about how these things form and why they happen at baseball fields sometimes. So step number one is you've got to heat the surface. And once you heat the surface more than the surrounding air, it starts to rise. This is your instability. A mini area of low pressure forms. And when you have low pressure, the air tries to rush toward it and it starts to spin counterclockwise. So you start to collect all that dust and dirt from the baseball field, and it grows from the ground all the way up. Yes, even on those clear and blue sky days. But once the air starts to cool off, or maybe it goes from the dirt to the outfield where the grass is cooler, well, then you start to kill off the spin and it dissipates a little bit. Now, no dust devils here. In fact, quite the opposite. We're going to be tracking rain over the course of the next few days. An updated look at the timing and totals coming up.
Yes. That is just wild. And I loved what you said this morning, that it would make a great name for a baseball
That's
team.
what I'm saying, right? The Dust Devils. Take that name. It's great. All right, we have Elizabeth Gardner looking at our next weather maker, and it's hard not to look at all the colors off the coast right there.
Yeah, this is where we have the rain moving onshore. This is a coastal low. It's not likely to develop any tropical characteristics, but it's still going to pull in a lot of rain. And the big question is, how far inland is that low going to go? It's still pretty far offshore. You know, if it moves all the way over us, we're going to have a pretty good chance for rain. If it stays a little farther offshore, obviously we won't see as much rain, even wrapping around the system. So here's a look at what's happening right now. Earlier this morning, we had some showers popping up as far inland as Goldsboro, Wilson, parts of Edgecombe County, and down in Sampson County. But all of that is kind of dissipated, and now we're just looking at some rain well off to the east. Notice these bands of rain even coming through for the next couple of hours, mostly dissipate. So that low is going to have to get a little closer to us before we see a whole lot of rain coming from it. So that may be overnight tonight. There's 10 o'clock tonight, and once we get closer to midnight, we start to see some of those heavier bands coming on in. So tomorrow morning, we do have a 70% chance of rain, and then 60% during the afternoon. For the rest of today, we're just looking at a 30% chance of rain, so that chance doesn't really start to climb until overnight tonight. It's likely to be a bit breezy ahead of that system. We're looking at winds steady out of the northeast at 10 and some gusts up to around 20 miles per hour. We may see that continuing on into the evening as that low gets closer to us. Current temperatures are mainly in the 70s, low 70s from the Triangle area northward, some upper 70s around Fayetteville and Clinton. Around the Triangle, we're looking at 72 in Apex and Holly Springs, 73 in Chapel Hill, 70 in Knightdale and Zebulon. Upper 70s for highs today with cloudy skies continuing, 81 in Fayetteville. We're going to see a lot of cloud cover. Tomorrow, as that low gets closer to us, our temperatures may not make it out of the 60s, but very quickly we warm back up with some sunshine Thursday and Friday. We haven't had a high temperature as low as 68 since May. So that is, we're getting into that time of year. Our normal high is 83. So temperatures in the upper 60s are definitely cooler than normal for this time of year. We do warm up nicely on Friday, and then a chance of a sprinkle or shower on Sunday. Coming up, we're going to talk more about who has the best chance for flooding and how much rainfall we could see total over the next couple of days.
Elizabeth, thanks. Unqualified doctors? A viral post on social media claims foreign doctors are allowed to practice interstate without the proper training or licensing. Our PolitiFact team fact checks that claim at 4.
Plus, finding faster cures. Coming up at 6 o'clock, WRAL Investigates looks into a new form of AI that could speed up the pace of medical discoveries. A mountain of debt. Many Americans rely on credit cards to help meet basic needs. Five on Your Side shares ways you can climb out of debt.
And online advertising practices. 2 big e-commerce and technology firms are under government review. What investigators hope to clarify.
All right, so let's say you're deep in credit card debt, like deep. There are ways to take back control. 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe explains what you can do to make a dent in your debt.
If you've got debt, you are far from alone. Americans owe a combined $1.18 trillion in credit card debt, and the average balance per household is around $6,000. Looking for ways to cut back on spending and using credit cards as little as possible is always the first option when you're trying to get out of debt. If your credit score is in good shape, you could move your high interest balance to a card that offers 0% interest for the first year or so. Just try to pay it off before that period ends and the usual high interest kicks back in. Adjusting your payment dates to line up with your payday can make staying on top of bills easier. But if your debt is becoming too much, pick up the phone and call the credit card company and explain your situation. Ask for a lowered interest rate and if they offer a hardship plan.
The credit card company may temporarily lower your interest rate, reduce your minimum payment, or even waive certain fees, usually for a few months or even up to a year.
You can also contact a reputable nonprofit credit counseling agency. They may be able to lower your interest rates and consolidate your debt into one manageable monthly payment. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
And some credit cards let you pay off certain charges with the points you've accrued. People who receive Social Security benefits could see an increase in their deposits next year. A recent report shows cost of living adjustments will likely go up about 3%. The average monthly benefit could rise $54. Cost of living adjustments are meant to help seniors keep up with rising costs, and that includes daily expenses such as groceries, housing, even medical care.
The Federal Trade Commission is investigating Amazon and Google over whether they misled advertisers who buy ads on their websites. The FTC is questioning whether Amazon disclosed information about the minimum price advertisers must pay before buying search ads. The agency is also looking into Google's internal pricing process and whether ad prices were increased without advertisers knowing it. 2 shootings 1 mile apart. The search is on to find out if they're connected.
Plus, toxic fumes on airplanes. The government is investigating what is causing an increase in the number of cases in the United States. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
2 men shot less than a mile apart. And this afternoon, Raleigh police are working to determine if these cases are connected. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey breaks down what we know so far.
2 shootings in 2 hours, less than a mile apart. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video just before 5 this morning. You can see officers investigating on Coke Street. A man was shot there multiple times and is expected to live. About 2 hours later, another man was shot on Pool Road. He's in the hospital with what appear to be life-threatening injuries. Sky 5 was on the scene as officers investigated there. You can see blue evidence markers placed on the street. Police closed Pool Road between Raleigh Boulevard and Heath Street during the investigation. Right now, police are searching for those shooters. We're working to find out whether these 2 shootings are connected. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
A downtown Durham business is raising concerns about recent crime. Over the weekend, a shooting on East Main Street left 2 people injured. 1 man was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The shooting happened near the bar 106 Main. It was the second incident they experienced in a matter of days. Now on Friday, the bar's owner says a man punched the front window. WRAL talked with bartender Wayne Watson, who was there both nights, about this concerning trend.
I don't want to feel like, I have to bring a gun to work. I want people to feel safe when they come when they go out. The customer should be able to walk in and out and not be bothered or not, have to worry about, being hurt.
Durham police say they are still looking for a suspect in that weekend shooting.
We got to show you the aftermath to a rollover crash in Wake County this morning. Do you see this right here? This happened near New Holloman Road and Olive Chapel Road. This is around 1:30 a.m. And video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a Jeep rolled off the side of the road. Deputies say alcohol was not involved in this crash, and teams were able to clear it in about an hour's time. But despite how bad that damage looks, no one was injured. And we're trying to learn new information about a different crash, this one on Six Forks Road near I-540 in Raleigh. You can see here in the video just how heavy police presence was this morning. We did see one car that was still at the crash site with significant damage by the time we arrived. The Highway Patrol is leading this investigation, but at last check, no word on any injuries.
Now to a Wall Street Journal investigation that finds toxic fumes are leaking into airplanes, making flight crews and passengers sick. One doctor comparing the trauma of those brain effects to concussions found in NFL players. NBC's Emily Aketa shares the findings in that report.
This morning, new concerns about fumes in the skies.
People was on the plane saying, smoke, 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 yelling.
As some passengers have experienced smoke in plane cabins. The Wall Street Journal this weekend releasing a report on toxic fumes leaking into cabins, writing that the rate of incidents is accelerating in recent years. The Journal reviewing more than 1 million FAA and NASA reports, along with documents and over 100 interviews. The investigation pointing to two of the biggest aircraft manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, particularly Airbus's A320 jet line, writing both have acknowledged malfunctions can lead to oil and hydraulic fluid leaking, resulting in the release of unknown quantities of neurotoxins, carbon monoxide, and other chemicals into the air. Airbus telling NBC News its aircraft are designed and manufactured according to all relevant and applicable airworthiness requirements. And a Boeing spokesperson telling the Journal, quote, the cabin air inside Boeing airplanes is safe. The Journal outlining the effects of fumes in cabins, saying their smell is described as wet dog, Cheetos, or nail polish. In some cases, making passengers sick and affecting pilots' vision and reaction times, according to official reports obtained by the paper. The FAA says the incidents are rare and cites a 2015 review that estimated a rate of less than 33 events per million aircraft departures. But the Journal says that its analysis suggests the rate was around 3 times that by 2024. The Wall Street Journal noting that most odors in aircraft aren't toxic and neither are all vapors. The effects are often fleeting, mild, or present no symptoms. There have also been incidents of visible smoke in the air. In February, passengers on board a Delta flight seen covering their faces in a smoke-filled cabin.
Breathe through your clothes, Nana.
The plane landing safely.
The flight attendant got on the mic and was like, guys, we're aware that it's smoking. We're trying to get in touch with the pilot.
Delta telling the Wall Street Journal the company was cooperating with a continuing NTSB review. Now this morning, renewed calls for air safety after takeoff.
The FAA is calling for a $3.1 million fine on Boeing for safety issues. The agency cites several violations between September 2023 through February of 2024. The period includes the blowout of a door plug on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 plane. The government is also seeking penalties for quality systems violations at its Renton, Washington plant and a 737 factory in Wichita, Kansas.
Hundreds of jobs could be coming to Johnston County. Today, the town of 4 Oaks in Johnston County will vote on a plan that could lead to more expansion for Novo Nordisk. Now, sources tell our NC Capital team the company has scouted 70 acres of farmland along NC Highway 96 for quite some time now. The goal is to build future offices, labs, or even factories. Town leaders meet tonight at 6:30, and our NC Capital team will monitor any new developments with this possible land deal.
AI smart glasses. Will they one day be a must-have? How Meta CEO characterized the future for people who don't have smart glasses.
And reining in the Emmy speeches, what happened when the hosts challenged the winners to keep their speeches a bit shorter? And just a reminder, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. North Carolina's fall litter sweep is underway, and the goal of the state DOT's initiative is to clean up the state's roadways with help from volunteers. NC DOT maintenance crews also devote 1 week of their time to pick up litter, and the sweep runs through the 27th. And you can actually contact your local litter sweep coordinator if you're interested in helping. People across the Triangle are getting ready for 919 Day this Friday, the local holiday every September 19th. Get it, right? A nod to the local area code, right? It's this Friday, a big event being held on NC State's Centennial campus. That will include live music and food trucks. And the event starts at 6 p.m. and is free to attend.
The FDA gives Apple the green light to roll out a hypertension detection feature for some of its smartwatches. Apple says the watches use an optical heart sensor to examine blood vessel responses to heartbeats. The watch then compiles data for 30-day periods and sends a warning to the person if it detects signs of existing hypertension. The watch may not detect every case of high blood pressure, but it could potentially alert about 1 million users. Bold claims about smart glasses. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg says people without smart glasses may one day be at a significant cognitive disadvantage. That vision for the company's future could come into focus this week during the Meta Connect conference. The company is reportedly developing new AI glasses. Meta's new smart glasses could include innovations like a display for viewing apps and notifications and a wristband for easier gesture control.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, the Trump administration is redirecting nearly $500 million to HBCUs. This is the new headline coming in this morning, or this afternoon, that is. The Trump administration is sending this funding to historically black colleges as well as tribal colleges. This is a one-time investment covered primarily by cuts to other colleges serving larger numbers of minority students. The Education Department said that the funding boost comes days after cutting $350 million from other grants, mostly from programs that served Hispanic-serving colleges and universities. So, of course, we're going to continue to follow where this money goes here in the Live Center.
All right, thank you, Laura. Historic bout. Terrence Crawford cemented his legacy in boxing, defeating Canelo Alvarez. But it was what happened after that fight that has a lot of people talking.
And cashing in at the Emmys. The stars walked away with shiny statues, but a nonprofit is benefiting from long-winded speeches. How the host and network are making good on a challenge. Welcome back. You're looking live at Southern Pines, and we have a mix of sunshine and clouds out there. Looks like a very nice day for golf. You're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A lot of information is out there about eating high amounts of protein, and it's an important part of our health, yes, but too much of it could pose risks. Manny Gaither explains how much protein the average person actually needs and why.
It's part of a healthy diet. Protein from sources like lean meats, chicken, eggs, and legumes can help you build and maintain.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. The Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office says a suspect has been identified in that shooting at a football game last week. The sheriff tells WRAL they are working to get that suspect in custody. A press conference is expected to happen just before 5 o'clock this evening, and the shooting happened at Southwest Edgecombe High School on Friday night. The two teenagers were hurt, but they are expected to be okay. The school district says additional law enforcement officers will be on campus this week just to be cautious.
Governor Josh Stein says he will ask Congress for $13.5 billion to help with Hurricane Helene recovery this week. He says North Carolina received enough funding to make up for only about 9% of the total damage. Around 74,000 homes in western North Carolina were damaged. It will also help with loans for businesses who are still not making the same revenue that they were before the hurricane.
2 men in Raleigh are hurt after being shot early this morning, and that happened on Coke Street near Pool Road around 4:30 a.m. Police say when they first arrived, they found a man who was shot several times. Shortly after 6 a.m., police were called to another shooting, this time on Pool Road, about a half mile away. They found another man who was shot there. Police are still investigating if both of these shootings are even connected.
Melissa Jefferson Wooden is celebrating a championship record in Japan. The 24-year-old from South Carolina is now the world's 100-meter champion. 1 year ago, she was the Olympic 100-meter bronze medalist. Well, yesterday, Jefferson Wooden ran away with the victory in 10.61 seconds in Tokyo. That makes her the fourth fastest woman in history. Florence Griffith Joyner's 10.49 record from 1988 has been untouchable for decades, and Jefferson Wooden is now setting her sights on 10.5.
Impressive. Terrence Bud Crawford made history with his victory over Canelo Alvarez. Crawford defeated Alvarez Saturday night by unanimous decision. He captured the undisputed super middleweight title. The 37-year-old became the first to capture 3 unified division titles. And there was plenty of star power among the 70,000 fans, including Boxing Hall of Famers Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. And during the post-fight press conference, Crawford returned Canelo's belts. Why some say it was a rare acknowledgement of an opponent's greatness.
Our pet of the day is a courageous husky from the Adolescent and Animal Resource Fund. Meet Captain. This beautiful husky managed to find help after enduring a horrible blow to his bottom jaw. He approached a kind family, and after a successful surgery, Captain doesn't seem to mind the loss of his perfect smile. He has a strong drive to live, and the trauma has not affected his appetite. An active adult family would be ideal for Captain, possibly a veteran or maybe even someone who works from home. If you're interested in Captain, you can contact ARF at 919-894-1111.
Oh, someone please adopt that dog. Printing paper checks. Some banks are still mailing payments. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, how one woman found out the hard way and a warning about online bill pay.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And just a reminder, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.